Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm Jeff Howard, and this is going to be a fun one for me because I've got Beck Williams here. Hey, Beck.
Hey, Jeff. I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here, and I'm just going to jump right in and first of all say that, like, you have such a positive vibe. I've always enjoyed talking to you from, I think we met at the opening night gala.
Yes.
At Film Invasion Los Angeles last year. And some people just strike you as cool.
Yeah.
You struck me as cool right off the bat, and you were cool throughout. And it was super fun to see you. You were at Film Invasion Los Angeles because your film Pace, and now I have to mention awards. But your film Pace was an official selection at Film Invasion LA in 2025, and you took home a little award called the Grand Jury Award for Best Short Film Drama. You also won Best Director of a Short Film Drama because I guess I should mention, you wrote, directed, you were the lead performer, and also one of the producers, I assume, because when you make it, even if you didn't credit yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I'll
I'm
say
sure
the last listed producer for sure.
The last listed producer,
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm sure like a lot of stuff fell on your shoulders anyway, right?
Yeah.
Because it's an indie film,
Exactly.
and it sounds like you had a lot of great help.
Yes.
And by the way, this is biased, but I'll throw in that I respect you as well for not grabbing that credit. Because, like, once you got the writer and the director, do you really need to, like, it always rubs me the wrong way. Like, oh, I trust you didn't do this. That, like, when they give themselves, like, executive producer credit or this, I'm like, how many times do you need to see your own name?
Right, yeah, exactly. I know, yeah. My name's on there a little too much already, so,
Well, but justifiably, I would say.
Oh, thank you.
All right. And very cool that you won the director award, I think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, like, such an honor and really exciting. It was like, I directed a couple of shorts. I did not do the festival circuit with those shorts, so this was the first time I had a film that like
really. So this was your first festival run.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, so all the other stuff was prelim or whatever, preparation.
Yeah, I guess actually I have to back up because I did have a short that was specifically like a mobile, like shot on iPhone like years back. That got sent to like niche festivals for that kind of thing, and it did well, and I'm happy about that. So I gotta say, in a way, it's my second film, but I never did a festival push like this with a film that's not as niche as that.
Yeah,
so
well, plus Pace. I mean, Pace has the look and feel, and I hate this adjective of a real film, right? Like
Yeah.
like it is a cinematic studio quality film. So
Thank you.
So obviously it's different to go out on the festival circuit with that kind of work that you probably poured, we will find out during this chat, but like probably more than a couple weeks into.
Yes.
Whereas when you shoot an iPhone film and you go to some iPhone, when you go to like obviously like the stakes were lower for you personally.
For sure,
that,
yeah. I mean, it was a fun project because what I ended up doing is at the time it was like, I want to do something a little bigger and it was falling through. And I'm like, you know what? I want to make something. So I had this friend, he's a good actor. And I was like, you know what? Do you want to do this if I like write something and film it? I filmed it myself. I did all of it, and it was fun. And I did the sound, all of it. So, but it was fun. I mean, it was a way to be like, wow, nothing really can hold you back. You
it
can't
really
make
is
something small.
Right. It's the perfect way to do a first project.
Yeah.
Because you get to have so much fun, and the tools are so good now. Like you can edit on, everything is available to the creative person now.
Exactly.
Whereas 20 years ago, a creative person, like, we couldn't do anything on our own. Like,
oh, yeah. And then when you're back when you had to film on actual film and how much that costs, and you better not mess it up, and do you have the money for it? I mean, the barriers there's still barriers, but they're lower, I would say now.
It'd be funny if my numbers are wrong, but because I'm really old and like grew up in the era of film, like I still remember that 16 millimeter was 90 feet per minute, and 35 millimeter was like, I forget the feet per minute, but we used to have to know how many feet per minute because
oh my gosh,
as that film was rolling through the camera, like every second was film you had to pay for, film you had to pay to develop, like the costs. Whereas with digital, as long as you got the camera for the day, you're like, oh yeah, we're just filling up a hard drive. Like
exactly.
You don't have to be as disciplined, which is such a luxury.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And it's really nice that we have options for people that don't. I mean, there's just so many more options for especially like indie filmmakers now, which is great. I'm not saying it's like sometimes it's cheap, sometimes it's not. It's definitely still not sometimes, but but at least it's accessible in a way that it used to not be. So,
right, and a young person can make that first thing and learn. Okay, I just learned how important it is to have a good microphone.
Right.
I just learned how important, but it's such a wonderful way to make mistakes, right? It's just like
absolutely,
yeah. If you don't have, and nothing against film school, but not everybody can get in or pay for it, and so doing trial and error stuff works.
Yes, exactly. Learn by doing. Try it out. Also, like when the stakes are lower, in a way, you can have fun. You know what I mean? So you're like, depending on what you're working on,
it's almost
you can
more
be like,
fun, right?
Like
as wonderful as a big production is, and I'm sure I'm hoping to hear that it was a fun experience making Pace, but there's a lot of fucking pressure too. By the way, I warn you that I curse too much?
Oh, it's good because me too. So
okay,
now I don't have to filter it.
You don't have to filter. We have the
great.
explicit little box checked on the podcast thing, so people don't get offended.
Perfect. Yeah, that saying. People are like, I've heard this so many times. It's probably because I like to curse, but there's that like, oh, it's like a sign of intelligence. I'm like, I'll take it. I don't know why that's a thing, but great.
I have.
Like
is that just there's like
cursing
cursing is a sign of intelligence.
I'm
Especially
not
if
sure
it's creative
why.
Cursing, right?
Yeah. But I'm here for it. I don't want to argue it.
Me too. But I think I'd like to justify it with like, because if you're moderately intelligent, a lot of things in the world are going to piss you off.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, fuck that. Like sometimes
Exactly.
that's the right reaction. Like
that's a good point.
Whereas if you say, I find it displeasing, I don't know. That's
right. It doesn't have the same.
Yeah.
Oomph
Although it does kind of sound intelligent, especially if I had a
That's
British
true.
accent. But
yeah. Good point. Yeah.
Well, excellent. So we've not jumped in. So let me just ask the basic question, because I this podcast is really about catching people while they're still on the festival circuit and just finding out what the inspirations were. Mm-hmm. Because as you can imagine, as someone who runs 2 film festivals every year and is associated with a third.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you folks down in Lima who run Film Invasion Lima.
So cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm just eternally grateful that people like yourself make wonderful films, because our festival would really suck without the great films, because all we care about is the quality of the films, right? So we don't pick them based upon if we think they'll pack the house or if they're hitting certain whatever. It's always funny to me when someone sends an email to Film Invasion Los Angeles or Sherman Oaks Film Festival and go, I made a blah, blah, blah genre film. Is that up your alley? And we're like, good is up our alley.
Right.
So if you made a good sci-fi, well, actually I should say great is up our alley, right? Because now we get enough submissions, that we take less than the top 10% now. So
wow. Yeah.
So we get about 700 and we show about 60-ish.
Wow. Oh my gosh, yeah.
So
it's cool to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And also congrats, because
thank you.
Yeah, because over a decade now. Right? For
this is year 11 for both.
For both, yes. Okay. Yeah.
True story. The reason why there's 2 festivals in my life is because we couldn't choose a name.
Oh my! That's why
myself and 2 partners were like, honestly, I wanted Sherman Oaks Film Festival.
Yeah.
And they were like, that's not a fame. The 2 people I was launching it with back in 2016 were like, people haven't heard of Sherman Oaks, so there's got to be one named after LA. And then I pulled out the name Film Invasion. They're like, Film Invasion Hollywood. I'm like, Hollywood sounds, where it's about indie, right?
Yeah.
So we made it Film Invasion LA. And then I was in the shower the next day and I was like kind of bemoaning the fact that Tarzana and Encino and Studio City and North, like every town around me as of someone who lives in Sherman Oaks has a festival named after it.
That's a good point.
And I was like, Sherman Oaks deserves it. And then I realized, wait a minute, we can do both. And then see which name does better. And then they both kind of did equal until we moved them 6 months apart. And we've been doing it for we'll be doing it that way for 9 years. The first year they were like 3 months apart, and it was a little
Oh my!
brutal.
I can't imagine.
Well,
It's
but
like
we
a
only got
back-to-back
like,
thing, guys.
the first year we got barely 100 submissions, and we showed like 15. So
Okay, yeah.
it was like 2 days at the theater.
Gotcha.
Now we're 3 days on 3 screens, so it's equivalent of 9 days, really.
I mean, that's incredible.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Kind of fun,
So
but not
cool.
about. But so you're see how nice you are. You're getting me to talk about myself,
Well, it's great. I like hearing about it.
and now it's your turn. Well, you can
Okay.
ask. Feel free
Yeah,
to probe.
for
But
sure.
so that was me attempting to ask
Mm-hmm.
about what inspired you to become a creative professional, because here you are. Besides Pace and the stuff before it, I know you're working on the feature version.
Yes.
And when I say working on, I assume it's a little more than just an idea.
Yeah, we're pretty far into that. So I'll start with so how I got into being an artist. It's like I remember when I was a little kid, I was really young, and I had such horrible anxiety as a child. I for a lot of my life I had anxiety, but especially when I was a kid. And I remember
Like, did it display itself as shyness, and were you?
like more. I actually think I was actually pretty darn outgoing. It was more
Right.
like. It was more like just like panic, I guess. I don't know. Like I feel like I had this strange sense of like understanding too much when I was too young, or like existentialism. I don't know. I was just very anxious.
Sure,
So-
sure. No, I think
Which
I would say anxiety is a sign of intelligence, by the way. But keep going.
yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Right?
Maybe I knew
'Cause
too much.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah, because the more you understand, you're like,
You get overwhelmed. Maybe.
you're like, shit, things can go wrong.
Right.
Like I am not like sometimes kids are like, I'm bulletproof and nothing bad will ever happen to me.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that might be what we call the bliss of ignorance.
Yeah. Maybe. Right. Yeah. So yeah. So being this anxious kid, I remember I was like pretty little, and somebody on like TV was like bleeding. It was fake. It was like a medical show. I don't know. I don't remember now. But I freaked out, and my mom's like, "It's pretend. It's just telling me it's pretend." I'm like, "What do you mean? Adults pretend? That's crazy." So anyway, from then on, I was like, "I know that's what I want to do." My mom is wonderful. She's amazing. She got me into acting classes because I expressed an interest, and then started doing that when I was probably like 7.
Wow,
And then-
excellent. And what part of where were you growing up?
Oh, Sacramento.
Sacramento. There we go.
Yeah, from Sacramento.
Right. So that's an interesting place to grow up. I have friends from Sacramento.
Oh, you
where,
do? Oh,
where,
cool. Yeah.
where you're connected to, you're part of California, for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
You're the capital,
Right.
for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
But at the same time, not drowning in when you grew up in LA, like acting classes kind of have a weight to them, that there's pressure on these kids. Like, are you going to end up? Whereas I bet it was a lot more freeing up there.
Yeah. I mean, it is it's kind of like the little overlooked city a little bit, but now when I go back and visit, I love it. And yeah, it's freeing. There's also a good theater scene up there. I kind of like took it for granted because I grew up and was doing theater constantly there, but it's great. You know what I mean? Having been away, I'm like, oh man, that's a good scene there. So yeah, I got into theater when I was young, and I was
So you had a
always in
natural
show.
aptitude for it too, because clearly you got cast and stuff.
Yes,
As a young person.
I did. Yeah, I was in a show like constantly in a show, which was amazing. So it's really nice to like grow up and do theater, especially having been that kid with anxiety. You have to you really have to manage it and get out there and do
Live stage.
Right? It's a lot. Yeah.
It's so interesting, yeah. And the anxiety was still there, but it felt better.
I just think it was one of those things where it's like I love to do it, and so I just had to kind of push through and manage and figure it out. And usually after opening night, I'd be like, all right, did it once. I can, you start to get in the flow.
Look, I watched the Martin Short documentary like a few days ago,
Yeah.
and he said he still gets anxiety and butterflies every time before going on stage.
Yeah, and isn't it nice to hear that? It's like, oh, we don't have to be, like even someone so pro and awesome and like that you would not expect that from.
Someone who's been doing it for
Forever.
50
Yeah.
years
Exactly.
or 60 years of performing, and still anxiety, butterflies, nervousness. Yeah,
Right,
it's
yeah.
natural. It's really very human. Yeah.
It definitely is, yeah. And I feel like in a way that was a gift that I did that and had to kind of, I don't know, figure it out, as much as I could. So yeah, I started doing some working on. There was a little bit of indie film at that time up in Sacramento. I think there's more now for sure, but so I would do indie films here and there as an actor. And then went to school, UC Irvine, went to for theater, which was great, and I got to study abroad for a chunk of time, like a good summer intensive in Italy, which was awesome. Did theater there.
Oh, that was a good choice.
It was so amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Like part of me was like, I just want to travel and just it's an excuse to be studying. It gives you the opportunity. But man, it was like life changing. Actually, it was one of the best things I've done. It was so cool. Yeah, incredible,
fantastic.
Yeah.
And as a theater major, the focus was really stage.
Yeah, so
like
I did Commedia dell'arte, so it's which is theater, and but it was like more, it was that, but it was a lot of like getting into your body too, which I think is huge as an actor, to really be in touch with like your instrument. And I was doing stuff I hadn't done before, and I'm like, this is incredible. So yeah, we're doing, I did the intensive, so it was all day. I didn't have other classes. It was that like all day. And then, we had a show that we put on a show at the end. So, yeah, that was great. And then, after graduating, moved to LA, struggled, struggled in college, struggled after college, just the
an actor's life is going to involve struggle, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It just, I wish when you hear someone who had zero struggle, like there's always something up to that story, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think like I'm grateful that I had to kind of like push and work hard, and it made me really appreciate things. But I think for the first little bit out here in LA, it was like just survival. I'm like, how do I even
because
do anything else?
Even though Irvine's like an hour south, probably less if at midnight. But,
yeah, right.
But
right.
were you? But it's a world away, right? When you go from Irvine to LA.
Yeah, and it's kind of coming out of the bubble of being in school.
Yeah.
You kind of have structure. Going into debt for sure, but at least like having some structure, and working, being a student, working part-time, all that, you have like a little bit of both going on. Then you come out of that, and for the first time, for me and probably for a lot of people, where it was like school, structure, which I thrive on structure. So come out and be like, I don't know, like, good luck
Just
making
do
rent.
Do it for yourself. Yeah, seriously.
Overdrawing my account, just stressed, constantly stressed. And so being in LA for the first part really was just trying to survive, not doing so good at that. And then after a bit, getting a little more stable. And then that's really kind of like, I was having a hard time, coming here not knowing anybody, no connections, no money. I was having a hard time getting my footing. And then, I'd start to kind of get there, and just, I couldn't get into rooms or audition, whatever. That did start picking up, but at the same time, it did give me this opportunity to like, to start writing, because, and I think it's such a nice compliment as an actor. It's a complimentary thing to write as well. There's something about it, because I don't know what it is, but I know a lot of actors that are like, I love their work as writers. There's just something so nice about like that. It's the synergy between those, I think.
Because this is a dicey adjective, but the complete actor is so aware of the dialogue and the screenplay. Like I mention this sometimes. Like I've seen more than one interview where Jack Nicholson says, "I'm not that good an actor. I'm a great writer, and I rewrite all my lines. I don't write anyone else's lines."
Yeah.
But Jack Nicholson is like, "You think I'm a great actor? No, I just rewrite everything so that it works for me."
Right.
And I'm like, that's the genius of great acting, is understanding the screenplay, I guess. And
yeah, absolutely. I think that's you got to understand. I think that's kind of like the funny thing about acting is, on the one hand, it should. You kind of want to be living and be living as they say, like in the circumstances, that whole thing. But truthfully, like really truthfully living and just experiencing and not overthinking it, because like, in life, things aren't written out. You're just, so there's that kind of like, what is it? Like, that spontaneous kind of feel of it. But it's a craft, and you have to understand what's the story you're telling. Like script analysis is a thing. You have to understand what you're doing. Who are you in this? Like what.
Yeah, and you have to understand what you're doing on page 15, how that affects page 45, right?
Yeah,
and
right.
You have to have the whole thing in your mind.
Yeah,
that's especially. I wanted to ask a question though, because so much of your education and training was stage oriented. Feel free to answer both or one, but. Were you tempted to go to New York instead for the stage thing? And staying in LA, was it stage oriented, or do you immediately shift to like auditioning for things that were camera on screen?
Oh,
like,
great question.
Because it's a different, right? Because they're so different.
They're so different. Still would love to go do theater in New York at some point. I'd love to do it. But you know what? I always knew I was going to be in LA, even when I was like really young, because I knew I wanted to do film and TV. So, I mean, I love theater, don't get me wrong, but I knew that's what I wanted to end up doing.
Right. So theater, that excellent training, but your theater training was really, you were still thinking of being a film actor.
Yeah.
A screen actor.
Exactly.
Screen Actors Guild. Hey.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. So that was kind of my plan since I think it's so funny. I remember being like 10 years old trying to plan out which is such a joke because I'm like, here I am still trying to like figure things out, but being 10, being like, this is the career I want, and like by the time I'm 12 I hope I have representation. I'm not even kidding. Like I had it, like I was like, I want to be working by the time I'm 12, where it's like on set or whatever, just where you have to have a tutor or something. I was like, I just want to be working.
Well, they make us so aware of the child actors, right? The young actors, like get a lot of press. Like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's
often unfair to those actors. I've hard to think of a young actor who didn't experience terrible things.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to reference the worst possible. The worst possible things would happen too, but even like Macaulay Culkin was huge, and his problems were the parents. But go on. I don't want to interrupt.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think there's like there could be a lot of pressure. It's interesting because I did like there was this like pilot and 3 episodes of this like indie show that I booked when I was like a young teen or 12, something like that, and we filmed in Hawaii and stuff. It was really cool. It was like a full
as a tween
production.
You were working in Hawaii.
Yeah, it was so
I would
cool,
say
and like
that was awesome.
It was amazing, and that was like, to me, it felt like my dreams were coming true. And they were shopping it around, and we were getting. It almost got picked up. I think the timing ended up being bad, and it didn't happen. And I was real sad, but now. Not even just now, but for years now, and like, you know what? I don't think I just told you how much I was anxious. I don't think that would have been the right time for me. I'm glad, I'm kind of glad that I wasn't. I don't know. I think that was a bit young for me. I'm not saying for everybody.
Like, look, I would not. If it had been picked up, I assume all of a sudden you'd be living in Hawaii as a young person, as a tween. Getting paid to be on a show like that would have been would have been a whole different. Sure. It would have been amazing, but at the same time,
the industry part of it, the business
might have fucked with your head.
Yeah, I think the rest of it, right? The art's great, but I think it is a tough business, and I can't imagine having to for any kid to kind of have to. And I'm sure there's plenty of kids where it's not this way or they love it. I'm not saying this blanketly, but I think at least for me, having this whole like business side of it all, and like what it is to be in the industry so young and like not knowing who the hell I even was yet, you know what I mean? Like I had so much I had to go through still. So I think it was a cool, awesome experience, but I think it was, I don't know. I'm grateful for the path I've had. I think
it worked out, and probably a good experience to realize that, maybe it was really that you do things and then nothing happens with it, right? Like that's another good.
Yeah.
It's fresh in my head, but Martin Short said to was on a million failed pilots.
Yeah.
And literally says to young actors who he's like, no, that's part of the job. Like
Right.
we work and then nothing happens with it. Like that's just hope that 10% gets out there and you're good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's important stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it can't be, Lord knows.
Yeah, right. You kind of have to. And I mean, I think that's like, kind of also like I was thinking about this recently with like indie film, and why it's like special, because I think, now don't get me wrong. I want to work on everything. I love working on big stuff too. It's awesome. But I think it's easy to get so stuck on like, this is what success is defined as, or B, this is the ultimate trajectory, right? But it's actually like, it's funny because there's some actors that they'll do like, I don't know, like they can have their choice of like whatever they're working on, offer only whatever kind of actors. But like so often they're like, oh my God, but I just want to do this. I want to do this indie film because of the art of it. You know what I mean? Like it's the story. I think what it comes down to is like, no matter the size of the project, like we're all like hungry for the storytelling. And I think like, it's so special to like put that first instead of thinking like, what's like being so caught up in like, is this success or am I failing or is this, it's just kind of like the hungry, I don't know, the more time has gone on, the hungrier I am just for the art, So it's kind of like getting to do it with other people, getting to like, of course you want like your stories to get out there and affect people, but also just the doing of it matters so much. And so it's kind of, I don't know, that's where I feel like I've evolved over time from my young self of being like, this is the epitome of what I think everything I want is. And now I'm like, oh man, I just love what I do,
So that young self was focused on auditioning for like TV and film and commercials and stuff. Like was that the focus early on?
Yeah. Like as a young adult or like,
or after college, when you were hitting the pavement.
I think after college, I just had this desperate, like I need to make it, for survival also, but also I'm like, I just want to, and I still do, of course, but I think I had a limited view of like what success can mean, because I think just like the doing it can be successful in itself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow. I rarely go here with people, but you're so open. Like, are you talking about the difference between wanting to be famous and wanting to act in a way? Like,
yeah,
because some people are focused on I want people to know who I am.
Right.
And the cynic in me goes, well, then no one's going to know who you are.
Yeah.
Because you've got to be focused on the work and the quality, and then
right.
people will know who you are. And it sounded like you were kind of implying that.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely ties into it for sure. And I think just like, I feel like it's really easy as creatives. I know I'm not alone in this because I talk to other friends about this too, but it's easy to kind of like, especially with how I think the way I don't want to say sold on, but in a way, the way you're kind of like shown or talked to about, or how it appears, I think,
how success is defined.
Business. Yeah. Like when you're coming into it, you think, okay, it has to look like this, it has to be like this, like, and I think it makes it really easy to set your self-worth on am I booking enough? Am I doing that? Like, oh, well then I'm not good enough. I don't know. There's so many little things you could set your self-worth on. And I think like shifting from what I think it's so hard to explain it, but I think shifting the focus to like, oh, I just want to, create and do storytelling and do it with people I care about. And like, not just what am I doing? How am I doing it? Who do I want to be on this journey with? And like,
and by create, you mean be part of the writing process too?
Oh, yeah, anything.
Or create as an actor.
As an actor, as a writer, as a filmmaker, any creatives, right? I think there's a lot of pressure on us because there's no linear path. So it's kind of like our self-worth can easily, I think, get tied to like the product versus the process.
And so it sounds like within years of finishing college, in a way, you sort of landed upon I want to tie my self-worth to quality work, not to like whatever glamour what some other definitions of success are.
Yeah.
You wanted creative success and creative satisfaction.
Yeah, I guess the fulfillment being in like
Creative
the
fulfillment,
work.
that's the right word.
Yeah, the fulfillment being in the work, and man, we're out here doing it. That's great. I don't think like I think it's like we can open our mind a little bit of what success can mean. It doesn't have to. You can, yeah.
Well, look, I think there's no bones about it too. Like, I may have things in my past I'm not proud of that were moderately successful, and it's like when you do bad work, like when you know the work wasn't great, and then it sort of goes somewhere a little bit. Like, that's not a good feeling.
Right. Or if you just don't feel connected to it, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's true. The connection to the work too is another way to gauge success. Like, I'm not just proud of my performance there, but I'm proud of that it's something that I feel connected to and am proud of.
Right.
Like the content.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I guess there's an infinite number of relationships between someone and their art, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think like the hard part is when other things get in the way of that, or if you like self-doubt, or self-doubt's normal. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like, I don't know, like I think it's so it can be easy for especially like creative people. We're very in touch with how we feel. I think it could be easy to get down on ourselves if things aren't going the way we think it should, or and it's like, how do we kind of like exist outside of that? I mean, that pressure is always going to be there, but I don't know, like no one can take, what it is, no one can like take the art away from you, right? Like, I mean, it's not up to you if you get booked. It's not up to you if you get something financed in the time you want or whatever. Someone doesn't like your script. It doesn't matter, right? But yeah, I mean, they can't stop you from doing it. And that's the best part.
And they can't stop you from knowing that in your heart, it's truthful and good and authentic.
Yeah. Does it make you feel alive? Awesome. Go for it.
Right?
Yeah.
So it sounds like you started writing pretty quickly after college.
Within a few
it sounds like
years,
you
maybe.
didn't start writing in college, but like after college when you were joining the rat race. Is that the fair way to call it?
Right. Yeah.
Like all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, I'm in the rat race.
Yeah.
And this feels a certain way. Mm-hmm. And so the writing was a good compliment, a good salve for that, or?
Yeah, I mean, somebody was like, what if you wrote, a friend of mine was like, you know what? And this is kind of like, because I've been out of college for quite a while now, so, but like, at that time it was like, what if you wrote something for yourself, and kind of like we talked about earlier, but why don't you write a short film, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So I did, and then it was like, you know what, I feel like this could be like a pilot, and then so I started reading a lot of scripts, and I started to I did end up like taking screenwriting courses, but just really trying to immerse myself with it, and yeah, I wrote my first pilot, and I was like, oh my god, I love this, and I just kept writing, like I kept writing, so and it's always been nice, I mean, to have that. It's like I can't really choose. I mean, I'm in class as an actor. I'm working on my craft, and that's amazing and fulfilling. But it's like, in terms of like, you don't know when an audition's coming or when you're going to book something or this and that. But you can always sit down and write, anywhere really. So it keeps like the creativity going, and from there things just kind of evolved. Then I was like, well, what if I directed something, or what if I did that? You know what I mean? So kind of like just and it all kind of complements it.
Right, and a nice compliment to the auditioning process, right? That process, to also have the other thing going on at the same time, is probably very balancing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and what's kind of fun too is kind of having to, because with like, to your point with like indie filmmaking, that you said earlier, you kind of have to wear a lot of hats and you have to learn a lot, or you should, I would say. And that's something I try to get better at. I'm like, well, let me get a little bit better at lenses, this, that thing. I'm not a DP, but I want to know as much as I can about how to talk with a DP, whatever. So, but what's fun is now as an actor, when I get to work on bigger sets and things, I mean, there's just so many technical things I'll know more about, even though it's not my job, but it's like I think it helps to have knowledge of
probably
everybody
makes
else's
you a better
work.
actor because you're aware. Yeah, It also gives you more respect for all those roles around you when you're on a bigger show, like when you get booked on something and you're like, it's
exactly.
a nice balance.
Yeah. Well, and kind of just even the little technical things. You understand what your coverage is, and you're like, okay, well, all right, so then continuity, whatever. There's these little things that you start thinking about. Like, I did have somebody tell me that, a director I super admire and respect. I got to work with her. She's also an actor. She's an actor and director. She's like, you don't have to choose. You can do both, and she's awesome. But I felt it was such a compliment because she's like, Beck, you're a smart actor. Like she loved that, I knew I asked certain questions, or I had certain understanding of like where I was in the space compared, like for what shot we were. And she's like, that's so cool, And I was like, oh, that's great to know. Like, thank you for telling me.
I'm sure it's hugely helpful for an open-minded director who doesn't have that old school, like actors are puppets, Hitchcockian vibe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, as long as they have the modern vibe of I'm collaborating with you, the more you bring to the table, the more knowledge, I'm sure makes you a better actor. Has to.
Yeah.
And the writing makes you a better actor, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think so for sure. Because, because it's like a bird's eye view of a story, and at least when I write, this is such an actor thing. I know I'm not alone in this. But when I write, kind of my way in to a story is like is the dialogue or the actors, the characters, right? The like dialogue or where it's just kind of like I hear that first. It's like I can feel that conversation before I can build the world or whatever. That's my
right. So you have moments in your mind of conversation, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to build. Now I have to build the world where that conversation takes place.
Yeah, it's like I can hear. I mean, it sounds so funny. It's almost like I can hear the conversation. It's just like there. Like it's almost like I joke that like I'm channeling someone's, but it feels like that where it's like it's just kind of like that's where it lives in me, and then it kind of things build from there.
I'm with you 1,000,000% that the best unfair to say, but the best writers are the ones who can sincerely say to you at the end of a long day, the characters were talking to each other. I was just writing it down. But like they write a great writer takes a little less credit for it and says, no, I mean, I have the people in mind, but all of a sudden that character started surprising me, right? Like that can happen.
Yes, it definitely happens. Which is I think that makes it such a fun ride. And it probably sounds so hilarious, like to anyone that doesn't have that same kind of like feeling about writing or doesn't write or whatever, but it's a real thing. I mean, that's how it feels, it's like, it feels like I start feeling like my characters are real. Like I love that they're alive to me,
Well, if they're not, then I'm going to share an old screenwriting maxim I learned in the 80s, which is that if you write a person, you get a character. If you write a character, you get a character type. And if you write a character type, you get a stereotype. Right, stereotype, you get nothing. Like it's always one step removed what you put on the.
That's
so
cool.
By writing real humans, if they're real people to you, then they'll be real people to the audience.
Right.
But if you just write a generic, grandma acts like a grandma.
Yes. Yeah.
You've given an actor nothing to work with, and it just becomes a generic grandma who means nothing to anyone.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So you're doing the creative work. There you go.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
And so you got really into that, and then you started directing some stuff for fun.
Yeah, started to direct.
And then, am I right in assuming? So it sounds like Pace was like the first real. Real's an unfair adjective, but Pace is where you said, okay, I'm going to really lean into this and make this film.
Yeah, it was kind of like I'm really gonna go for it. I'd made 2 other. Shorts. Again, I didn't do the festival circuit with them, but I loved making them and it was great. And so I got a little experience directing in that way. But Pace was the first time where it's like, we're going to crowdfund, we're going to have a budget where we're going to hire people, we're going to have cast and crew, we're going to have locations, we're going to have the camera, it was like, we're going all in.
You knew how you wanted it to look, But by the way, a
Yeah.
question I missed asking was, obviously with those shorts, directing spoke to you. Like you didn't direct and go, yeah, I'm only directing because, I don't want to hire someone else. But,
Yeah.
But like the act of directing spoke to you. Like it worked. Like it worked for you. Taking the vision and making it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think especially on shorts and especially on something you write, it's kind of fun. It's nice to direct, and I did really enjoy it. I think and it taught me too that I love directing, but I like, and someday maybe this will change, but I want to kind of have the be separate. It's like I don't want to be acting and directing.
Right, you either want to direct or act, but you're doing both at once.
Doing both, great for a short. And you know what? I'm not going to say not great for a feature, but for me, not yet, and who knows. But for now, I was like, this was awesome for a short. If I direct again, I'd like to just focus on directing, you know what I mean? And, well, I would say for a feature, I'd love to someday do that, but it's got to be okay, I'm only focused on that. And then in terms of I think tend to see myself a lot more as otherwise a actor, writer, producer,
Filmmaker,
right? Yeah,
filmmaker.
Filmmaker, yeah.
I mean, I assume there was never any doubt in your mind that you would play the lead in Pace.
Yeah.
And direct it because it was a short and it felt.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be honest, at first I wasn't going to direct it. I wrote it, and as an actor, it's it's great if you can create work for yourself. Why not? And give yourself an opportunity and to be able to play a role that's challenging and fun or whatever you want to be doing. So I was like, okay, I know I'm going to write it and I know I'm going to act in it. That's and it's a role that I think I should embrace, but I wasn't going to direct. But then a lot of people were like, Beck, I mean, the story's so means a lot to you. It's your story. It's not your story completely I'm that person, but it has a lot of personal connection to me. And a lot of people were like, it's a short. You should direct it. You should direct it. And finally, I'm like, you know what? You're right. I should direct this. And I'm so glad I did. And now I'm not going to direct the feature.
Oh, right. So for the short, it was very clear to you that you were the best director for the job.
Yeah.
People pointed it out to you.
People were telling me, and I was like, you know what? I think you're right. It's contained enough as a short that, and luckily we had we did a lot of prep. My DP, Leo Behrens, he's incredible. I always talk about him, and I have more to say about him in a second, but he was such a joy to work with. And we would have prepped anyway. We would have taken a lot of prep time, but we took extra prep time, months of it, because I knew I was going to be in front of the camera, and it's we want to make sure we have the shots. We only have 3 days to shoot this whole damn thing. Let's make sure that that we're kind of really locked in on that. So that was really helpful to have that time with him. And that really allowed me to, just having people support, allowed me to be able to do that. So a lot of the work was done before, and that way we could flow a little bit more versus trying to figure it out. I still had to figure things out on the day, but it's
and you knew that the vision was going to work, and you knew that you had a DP who was going to capture
what
you needed, right? Because imagine trying to act and direct and be like, I'm not really sure if they're getting the image right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're not sitting in Video Village watching everything in the frame.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And Leo, I kind of decided to shoot my shot with him, because I had found out I was looking for DP. That was kind of I'm it's really going to depend on who I get, and when I saw his work and what he his everything, I was like, oh my god, he's so awesome, and I'm just gonna DM him. Let's see what happens. I'm sure he gets a ton of, but he responded, and then we really hit it off. We've become really good friends too. He's so wonderful, and now he's directing the feature, and he's the best person for it, and I'm really excited.
So that's the director.
That's the director, and you know what? It wasn't just an immediate hey, do you want to? He was originally maybe going to be or not maybe. I knew he was going to be part of the project, but we're thinking, okay, as a DP, whatever. But man, it just was like so clear that it was just so clear that he's like perfect for this, because he's a director as well. I mean, he's a great director. So yeah, I'm like excited because we've collaborated before already. It was like such an awesome experience.
No, that's an inspiring way to go from short to feature, because I mean, I could name some of the famous directors who I knew started as DPs, and they're always
cool.
really great directors. Like, I think that there's really something to it, but also the fact that you collaborated as director and DP, and now the DP is so that you can focus on the performance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's kind of perfect. Yeah, because
It's so perfect.
talk about knowing someone who will be true to the original, but also expanding it and improving upon it while staying authentic. Yeah, that's way better than starting with like some fresh director.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that someone couldn't have come in and said, "Hey, I have a fresh take," and you'd be like, "I love that fresh take."
Yeah.
But the short was so great. Well, why not keep the team together? Is that what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like, right. I mean, the collaboration. I remember telling him, I'm like, I just want to direct something again, just so we can work together, just so you could DP for me. I mean, oh my God, like, I really want to collab again. And then, of course, I was like, oh yeah. I mean, I would love for you to be part of the feature. But man, I mean, I'm really excited because he's awesome, and we've been in development on this now, so and it's cool because I'm excited for someone else to kind of like take the reins too.
Yeah, you will be there for nearly every shot. So like, if you see a performance that needs a note, I think people would listen to you. as
yeah, I mean,
it's not like you're throwing all your eggs in that basket and being like, I hope you don't break my eggs. Like, you'll be there with the eggs.
For sure. Yeah, I'll be there. And you know what? Like, we do have this lovely collaboration as we've been, he's had he and my producer, Elida, they're both just like fantastic, and they're so wonderful to work with and develop. And it's just cool to like have a team and to be like, I mean, we have our script locked now with everything. So it's kind of like, it's exciting because I love our team too. So we're making something we care about, but doing it together is like, this is what I want. You know what I mean? And he's very, Leo, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, very collaborative, but I'm also so excited to see what he does. Like, I'm like, you're the director. I want to see what he does. I'm
a little bit to surprise me.
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, I fully trust him. I know he's going to nail it, and he's going to do things I never could have thought of. You know what I mean? So it's going to be so, I can't wait. I can't wait as an actor on a film that I wrote to work with the director. You know what I mean? That's great. Like, heck yeah. I'm pumped.
Definitely. It sounds fantastic. And I'm actually going to rewind a little and bring up, so it sounds like the process of making the short for Pace was just superb, like just positive energy and friendships being formed and working relationships and all that. And then my understanding is, besides Film Invasion LA, like, you had a really fantastic festival run with it.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, it's when I really think about it, it was a great run. I'm really happy about that. I'm really glad.
Yeah. And did that help with the decision to like go for the feature idea, or would that have happened no matter what?
Yeah, it was the plan even before we shot it. I was gonna start working on the script, but
so it was the classic proof of concept idea.
Kind of. I mean, when I first wrote it, I'm like, this is gonna stand on its own. But I was like, I do think, like, I didn't. I would say the difference is like proof of concept without having the bigger vision yet. I was like, I would like to do something bigger, but right now this is going to be a standalone project, film. I wanted it to stand on its own. But the nature of that story too is like, there's only so much you can show in a short, and it definitely there's more to it. And so it was fun to expand on it. And we have a very different, in a good way, I would say, feature. Like, I don't get me wrong, I love our short, but the feature, I'm like, oh my God, like, I can't wait to make this. Like, it was able to really evolve, and I'm like, this is cool.
Yeah. You got to complete the world and complete the story and give the characters way more. You got to put a lot more flesh on those bones.
Oh, yeah. And they've changed. I mean, the characters have evolved too. And the story, I mean, there's a lot more There's a lot more boxing in it, which is cool. So
I'm just going to admit that I'm not sure there's anything as cinematic as boxing.
yeah, which
You know
is,
what I mean? Like, there's
yeah.
such a tradition in film, boxing in
I
film.
know, yeah. Which I'm like, man, I'm glad I like it.
Like, I don't
on
like
its own.
real boxing, honestly.
Oh, really? You don't
Honestly, I'm not too into real boxing,
Yeah.
but cinematic boxing, it's cinematic as fuck. It's just, there's something about it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because I'm like a martial arts person. Like I'm that guy. I love martial arts, and I've been doing it since I was a kid. You know, doing like mostly traditional karate. I like used to run my own. I had my own school for a bit and stuff. So
A dojo?
yeah, I didn't like.
Wow.
I didn't like own a building, but like I had my own school of classes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I ran it out here, which was cool. But
Right. So
But-
that part of the story was very true to.
yeah.
very-
Well, then I got into boxing. So,
Right.
because I love it all, but I got into boxing like several years ago now, and it was kind of like complementing, it's kind of training in both or whatever. And then I just really fell in love with boxing. I train every week still. You know, I'm always I have a great coach, and
It's like the best form of exercise.
it's so good. Yeah.
I mean, I got a friend I play tennis with who boxes 3 days a week in the morning.
Oh, nice.
You cannot make this person tired.
Yeah, it really is good for stamina.
It's the ultimate cardio because your heart rate just like in that combat situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and I spar too, which is it's so fun because you put everything into practice, and it is like a little chess match. You're trying stuff out. You're like, you know,
Chess match where your heart is pounding as fast as
Yes.
right. There's no slowing it down. There's no
Right.
Zen boxing.
yeah. You have to find it, right? You have to try to be like, all right, chill.
That's
relax,
true. You do,
know,
right,
in
to make
moment.
the right decisions.
Yeah, that's something that
Because
like
it's strategic. But all boxers are smart, right? Like people sell them short, I think, publicly. Like people even make fun of Mike Tyson. There's clearly intelligence there.
he's so good. I mean, like, yeah. There's so much to. I mean,
It'd be like disrespecting a chess player.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, there's so much strategy and personal style, and there's a lot to it. You're not just going out there and like throwing your fists around. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I guess you could, but really, I mean, you're reading what they're giving you. You're thinking about like how you're kind of adjusting in the moment. You're trying to set traps. If you're really good, which I'd love to do this someday. You're kind of like thinking ahead where you're like, I'll do, I'm setting this trap. I'm going to do that. And you just kind of like know what they're going to
Right.
do.
You notice how they reacted to something, and you're like, okay, if they react the same way again, it's going to give me an opening.
Yeah. I'm trying to do
Yeah.
it now. I just like to try everything out in sparring. You know what I mean? I'm kind of
Yeah,
like,
for
let's
sure.
go for it. Let me try this crazy thing. Yeah. Anything we practice, I try to
Sounds
do it.
really fun. Sounds
It's
really
so fun. Yeah. I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you combine your love for boxing and whatever combat arts and all kinds of stories. And I'm just going to mention that one of the things I enjoyed, I snuck into the theater for your Q&A. I actually was in there for some reason.
Sweet.
I forget why I was in the room, but I was in the back, and you did share like how it was sort of interesting because parts of the story like you're in a different stage of life than the character.
Right. Yeah.
And I assume the feature is going to have that same element for you.
Yes. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you get to tell the story way more completely.
Yeah, I was exactly right. It does have a full arc to it, and I think that is going to be an interesting challenge, just because. But I think it'll be good. It'll be good. I think like it is interesting to like it's. I definitely say it's not autobiographical. Like it's not. I'm not Remy.
It's not your life.
But right, Remy, and in the feature you get to see this more, but he makes his own mistakes. He's his own person. He has his own flaws, and for that reason I think it'll be fun because I'm stepping into that role versus like feeling like I'm doing something that's like a little too close. I mean, it's close to home in some ways, but I think it'll be interesting to
it almost sounds like for the feature, Remy's even more well developed to the point that this is someone else's story.
Oh yeah,
like maybe
yeah.
in the short there was a slight blur, maybe when you began it or first drafts.
Yeah, I would say, because it came from something personal, so it's like, there's probably a little bit more there. But
And now you get to put more boxing in.
Yeah, it gets more boxing, and so I think it allows me to like to be more comfortable stepping into something that's like, where it's like, I'm past the stage of my life, and like where well, how do I say this? The parts I do relate to in the story, there's elements in the story I relate to that, it's like, yeah, you'd have to revisit some stuff that you're like, I'm done with that. But I mean, hey, that's acting.
Honestly, it really is almost a nothing burger, right? Because just like, I'm I don't know why I'm getting personal, but like I'm in my second marriage, and like I still love a story about people meeting and falling in love, but like that's really, really gone long ago for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but you can still appreciate the story and identify it.
Right. Yeah.
Even though like that's in my past now, like, I forget what it's like to meet somebody.
Right.
To be
yeah.
honest. And you've been in relationships for long, whatever,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Like, whatever. Nora Ephron can keep writing like meet cutes to the end of the world, even though.
And you're right. It is always so satisfying. I think that's why even like coming to age stories are always so great. It's like even as adults we're like, yeah, but I lived that age. I remember, like you remember, So it's kind of like.
I feel sorry for those adults who don't remember what it's like to be a teenager, because.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny that it feels like a long time ago, and sometimes it doesn't. I'm like, man. I guess we all have that like younger self that's still inside,
Hopefully the cool people do.
Yeah.
Because, needless to say, when you're around, there's nothing. Well, anyway, obviously I enjoy being around kids because I get to surprise them by being not such an old fogey, I guess.
Yeah, they're probably like, oh, he's so cool.
Yeah,
like,
sometimes.
He's so chill.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I have had a couple kids go, oh, you're the cool dad. And I'm like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Why not?
That's great.
Just because I knew to say Gucci.
Oh, yeah, you did say.
This was like 5 years ago when people still said Gucci.
Yeah.
Oh, we're Gucci.
Gucci, yeah.
This like 7-year-old looked at me and like, how do you know that?
That's so funny.
Well, just like when they. So I'll tell you more funny stories when we're not recording. So
Yeah.
This is still about you. So, and I guess, okay, now I'm searching for an answer, but did all the laurels and awards and success of the short help with the feature process? Moving it forward?
Yeah. I mean, it's been great because it's connected us to some folks. I mean, it's I think there's the nature of development can be a little slow, but that said, yeah, it's been really nice to show like we do have something. We do a portion of this story has been told and it did well. People really responded to it. I mean, that's the beauty of like festivals is I can show up and talk to people that watched it. I mean, that's like real time feedback that I can now say like, yeah, people resonated with this. I know for a fact. You know what I mean? And that's great because then it's like it's a new film and stuff, but it's
right.
like,
and you can show potential investors like a poster covered with laurels and be like, look, it's just not me. It's not me saying it's good. Look.
Exactly. It helps so much to be like, this resonated enough that we had a good festival run. We luckily won some awards, and like, it was just it does help. Which is another reason I'm so glad we did it, because some people I've heard this. There's all kinds of like different advice, and none of it's more wrong or more right than it. There's just so many ways to go about it. But at one point I did have someone when I was starting the short be like, why don't you just go for the feature? And I totally understand the thinking of that. It's like if you're investing, might as well go like in your time, money, whatever, might as well go for it. But I was like, but now I'm like really glad that we did the short. First of all, I was like, feature takes a while. I want to make something and I want to make it and have it exist. And it actually just turned into a really great journey with this short. I was like, this is awesome.
Well, would it be wrong to assume that making this short also gave you a lot of information as a creative of how to make the feature better?
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, especially because it led to like my team. I mean, my director, my producer.
Putting the team together,
yeah.
Seeing what. Well, I assume in the edit, you saw what did work and what didn't, and yeah, it's
exactly right. Yeah.
I mean, most films would, look. There's a reason why people like Spielberg like to rejigger their work 20 years later. Is because after you finish something, you really know how you wanted to make it.
Right. And things evolve. You get a chance to evolve when you make something first and see what happens. I know for like the short, I mean, it has some lighter moments, but it's a little like, I would say it's a little darker or sadder, of a short. And the feature's just not like that, It's a lot more triumphant, and so that it's also nice to think, okay, actually, the story is a little more of this, you know. So that's
yeah, because in a way, the short your character is moving into a crisis point of decision,
right? Yeah,
and then as shorts often are, and probably it's the best way to end a short. You end it with us not knowing exactly what's going to happen.
Right.
Like you leave us wanting more. Certainly, that's what you want to do with a proof of concept anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
But you leave us wanting more. But now you're fun foreshadowing is that the more is going to be a lot of the more fun stuff or the rewarding stuff that happens in this person's life.
Yeah, I mean, still challenges, but I think like a little more of like the where it's a little more like a challenge that like I don't want to say this. I'm excited to kind of show that Remy is, and it's hard to do a lot with a short amount of time, but in the future you get to see a little more of like, it's really them against themselves in a way, you know what I mean? Versus like, oh, it's the world against, it's like, no, it's them against them. They, you know, or him against him, I should say. But he's like, you know, he's like, yeah, like he's what am I trying to say? I'm like losing my train of thought here. But it's kind of like more triumphant, a little more like not being a victim. Not a victim. He's not a victim. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Because where we see him in the short, he's really discovering some things.
Right.
And dealing with.
Yeah.
And by the way, that might be another reason why it totally appealed to me as a member of the jury is that I just love inner conflict that a creative artist has managed to get on screen, right? Because right, like one of the things I might not like about Hollywood movies is one of their rules is no inner conflict. Put it on the, don't make the conflict really obvious for those dumb shits in the seats. Like I feel like that's like what the stogie smoking producers of yesteryear were like demanding, like none of this tortured artist shit, none of this, but internal conflict is like, that's humanity.
Right.
And,
yeah.
And Remy's internal conflicts about what to do, about his relationship, about what he wants to do. Yeah. I mean, taking that internal stuff. Yeah. So you and it sounds like the feature we'll get to see a lot more.
Yeah, we get to see more of that, and kind of like he has this huge boxing
more of his
career.
Fun side.
Yeah, and we get to kind of start. I mean, he starts out on this like upward trajectory as like a pro boxer. You know what I mean? So it's kind of there's a lot of like, well, this is the path I've set for myself. This is what I think I want, and I don't want anything to come between that.
So you've let it evolve into more of a boxing film.
Yeah.
Which is probably super smart because boxing films kick ass.
Yeah, they're fun, right? And I think it's like a way. It's a fun vehicle for people to. You don't even really have to. I think one reason boxing is very cinematic. I mean, besides that, you're kind of like seeing someone in their body, and it's an individualistic sport. But I just think like you don't have to. There's not like rules that you have to necessarily know where you're like, oh, how do I follow that? Like it's pretty easy to follow. If someone's training hard, if they're in the ring, if they're getting hit, if they're getting worn down, if they're pushing through this like this individual kind of like journey, like it's very easy to track, and I feel like we can all relate to that. There's something about like with any sports, but I think you could see it a little bit with something like boxing, where it's like that person just really being in their body and really trying to and kind of like overcoming or pushing through. It becomes like a physical representation of the internal stuff we were talking about. So I think people I know I get pumped about it. I know even before I was into boxing, I loved the movies, and the boxing films. I'd be like, I want to start training like that, And I think people can relate to that because it's more about like it's about kind of like that self-perseverance more than like beating somebody up. Like we said, it's a trust match, and like training hard. And so I think like, so yeah, I mean, I think it makes it relatable. And then if you have things that maybe are someone's first time seeing something represented or first time, I mean, it's a little bit maybe easier to digest and understand when you have this kind of fun ride, I hope.
That's the best way, right, for well, I'd say a writer, but any creative, a filmmaker, is if there is a message within the story that is subtle, like that's also respecting your audience, right? Like you're like, you get to watch a fun boxing movie, and maybe some people out there will learn some more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because no one likes to be preached to. Doesn't work for any of us.
It doesn't work, and we don't need to. Because I think like something I keep coming back to, and I've used this example because this is why I feel like they're like art's important and stuff, but it really is. And I think the reason is like, imagine like if you read about something like in an article or a textbook, I don't know, you're gaining that information, and that's hugely important. And sometimes you can really connect to what you're reading to, but sometimes it's like you're reading the facts, but it's one thing to like read about something that happened, or read about a group of people, or read about whatever, or get information given to you. And it's another thing to kind of like watch somebody's life unfold, right? And so when we're doing that, it's a different form of like connecting to humanity versus like if you hear about, you hear about someone that's different from you or something, and you're like, oh, this is what their life is. You just hear facts. You're like, all right, well, either I don't understand or I don't agree. And then you watch them live and you see their humanity. There's something about that. That's why I think biopics are really cool.
I always lean into the fact that the human mind was pretty much created for storytelling, because we were just hunter-gatherers for hundreds of thousands of years. And we would gather around that fire at the end of the day and share our days as stories. And there's a reason why every major religion on this planet is a series of stories meant to tell morals. Because if you just sit down and say, hey, by the way, we don't want you to steal, we don't want you to do this, we don't want you to do that. No, like tell it in a story. Like stories are just, we need stories. We are a storytelling species.
Yes, exactly.
And honestly, there's no way. Even it's funny because like people shit on reality TV, and I'm kind of one of those jerks too. Like but it's always story. They're always telling a story, even if it's who's going to get the rose, or whatever.
Right. Exactly.
There has to be a story, or there's nothing. Our lives are stories.
Exactly.
In fact, I think a lot of screenwriters start because they just want to go, oh, what happened to me yesterday, I want to write it differently.
Yeah, there's a power in that.
Yeah, especially, cool. Well, I was a shy kid, so I'm like, okay, I'll write about someone who's not shy.
Oh, interesting.
That was nice, right?
Okay, so what changed for you? Because you're so outgoing, and you're an awesome person, and just like lovely to be around, and charismatic, but not shy. I would not say shy. Unless do you feel shy and you fight it, or do you feel like you're outgoing now?
I'm a little bit of whatever they call like introverted extrovert or extroverted introvert, where I really do need to recharge my batteries. And I'm comforted by the fact that one of my contemporary heroes, Taika Waititi, talks about having imposter syndrome all the time.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm.
Like I feel like most of the time I'm faking not being nervous.
Oh, okay, yeah,
But then because I joke all the time, like instead of going to the film festival tonight, can I just like lay in bed in the fetal position, because that'd be a lot more comforting right now.
Less
but no, I've got to go
overstimulating.
shake a ton of hands and greet people, and But then as soon as I'm there, I feel good.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the anxiety. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. It sounds like it's kind of just your nervous system protecting you, but you connect great with people. So it's kind of like, well, getting past that first part and then having that little that real connection that comes in.
It's true, and connecting with people is like a major reward in life, I think.
Yeah,
I
agree.
think that's why.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just how I'm wired. I guess some people may not be wired that way, but
yeah, or less. I think everyone.
Maybe
needs,
we're just people.
I think everyone needs connection. Maybe it depends on what kind or how much. Or,
yeah. I don't know. It gets. It's interesting, but I guess deep down, I'm just trying to say that thank you to people like yourself who are telling stories about life because, obviously there's a reason why everyone sits down and watches a screen all the time. Mm-hmm. I mean, it really is just seeking story.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we need it.
Yeah, heck.
We need escapism.
But even the news is telling us a story.
Right.
Sometimes it's the worst story in the world.
Yeah. We had this friend of mine, Olivia, we were talking about. She said something so funny the other day, and because this is not necessarily news, but it's something about astrology, and lately it's been every week. She's like, I feel like every week it's this happens once in a generation. She's like, can we just have a chill week? And I just think that's so funny. Because, it's yeah, can we all just have, maybe just a little more chill? There's so much going on. I'm like...
She's so right. She's right. Everybody, I'm one of those people who tries to say every generation in history, going back thousands of years, we're like, I guess we're the last. This is it.
Right.
The world's ending on our watch.
Right.
We fucked up.
Uh-huh.
And come on, you're not that important.
You're right.
There's going to be 1,000 generations or hundreds of generations after us. There were hundreds before us.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just products of our time. Let's not be so dramatic about it.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes when you go back in history, it feels like this has never... I mean, the pandemic was an interesting thing. And of course, it feels like that's never happened. But then you go back to what was the Spanish flu? There was something where
Spanish
it was
flu was
this was huge,
World War I. Yeah. Right after, 1915 or whatever.
Yeah. No, I don't know enough about it to be it was so similar. But it's I think
it was worse.
Yeah, right. And so I think we tend to be this has never happened before. And maybe sometimes, and then sometimes it's it has, and I know things are hard. You just got to keep pushing,
Obviously, I don't have the emotional capacity to talk about politics of the day, but I will say that when people say it's worse than it's ever been, there are those historians who go, "Do you know what it was like right before the Civil War broke out?"
Right? Yeah.
Maybe things have been worse than this.
Yeah.
Feels pretty bad though. It was the worst of my lifetime. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Didn't expect that.
But I didn't expect that. Well, here we are.
Seriously, I admit I'm a bit of an optimist about the future. Even now, I still think.
Yeah. I think you got it.
Maybe I was brainwashed by MLK's beautiful words of the arc of history trending towards justice or whatever it was. But I still think it's true. It's just that arc of positivity has ups and downs.
Yeah, things. Things ebb and flow, and yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there'll be a couple years with no great movies, and there'll be a year with great movies. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm trying to rescue because I dangled politics into this. Terrible.
No, it's fine. Terrible. It's all good. We didn't go there. We didn't say it. We didn't say anything.
I know, and it's not that I'm afraid to criticize and stuff. It's just that I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I admit to friends that it might be my white privilege to ignore how horrible things are.
Mm-hmm.
But
that doesn't sound like you're ignoring. It sounds like you're
aware. But deep down, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm not. No. I'm still an ally. I'm still supporting all my friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if I just don't want to go there. But anyway.
Yeah. I mean, who does want to go? Yeah, we're all stressed, but that's why we're making art. That's why we're trying to, that's why we're trying to do good stuff.
It's a great time for art.
It's a good time.
It's a wonderful time for art.
I think it is, yeah. And I'm on that positivity train too with things where sometimes people with certain stories or this or that, it's oh, this won't sell or this no one wants it. Or it's a bad time for this kind of a story, and I'm or it's the best time. Honestly, I'm choosing to believe this is the best time for these kind of stories.
It's always a great time for great storytelling, and human beings will always need storytelling.
Yeah.
And there we go.
I think the need of it.
Excellent. And to wrap up, so you're still auditioning, and people should follow your Instagram and whatnot to see what you're up to, and follow what you're doing. And as pace progresses, I guess we live in a world where you're not allowed to speak a word of it until it actually happens, or
with the feature.
Or can you are you giving updates now and then on your?
Oh yeah, I mean I'm not publicly giving updates, but things are moving along, and you know what I mean. Just a step at a time, but feeling pretty excited about it. I think we're gonna make this thing happen. Yeah, so I mean, it would be nice if we were shooting this early next year. We'll see what happens. We'll see.
Knock on wood.
You know what? I'll just say it, because then it's like, if we push it, we push it.
yeah.
But you got to start manifesting this stuff. I'm thinking like, I don't know, spring next year we'll be in production. Would be a great way to do this.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's excellent news. Okay,
Thanks.
let's leave on a high point.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because
That's
yeah,
great.
it is gonna happen, and it's happening next
happening.
year.
Yep.
While I'm rushing down to Lima, maybe because.
Oh.
Well, I guess I'll talk about Lima in the outro.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
But any links you want to share, email over.
Okay.
Already got your at Beck Wills with an underscore at the end, and
yeah.
they got a Z there. But that'll be a clickable link in the show notes. But anything
Awesome.
else, I don't know if you've got
Yeah.
GoFundMe's and whatnot. We put them all in the show notes.
Yeah, that's great.
Anything-
I got a
anything you
couple
want in there.
websites. So
And sweet.
Yeah.
Websites. There you go.
Yeah.
It's funny when people are like, yeah, there's no website. I'm like, yeah, I guess the website is like going away.
is it okay? Because I kind of love them, and I love designing them. So
I live for them.
I think it's
I
great.
still
It's
think
a
you
nice-
need your own. Yeah.
I think it's good. It's just it's a quick thing to reference, right? So we have
Yeah, and it can link to everywhere else. And it's like a hub,
it's a hub.
digital hub.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll talk about my digital hubs then. Well,
Awesome.
well, first, thank you, Beck, for
Yes.
being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Great.
everyone, for listening. If you want to learn more about this podcast, the Discovery Indie Film Podcast, where we talk to filmmakers who are on the festival circuit, just go to discoverindiefilm.com. On social media, it's always at DIFWins. I won't tell that funny story, but I'll add that I always say this. I quit social media a year and a half ago, like in January of 2025. I walked away from it, but my wonderful podcast producer, Karina, does check the messages if anyone sends a message to at DIFWins on any of the platforms.
Awesome.
And there you go. And I like my life better without social media, I gotta admit. It's just,
I'm staying off
You know.
it as well. It exists, but
you're staying off
but
it.
I don't have it on my phone, and I do not check it very often. Yeah.
Yeah, not to totally bring everything down, but it was both that and I lost a pet
Oh.
that month, and I kind of had curated my Instagram to only be pet videos.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Uh huh.
You're just like, leave me alone now.
Right.
I don't need
totally
it.
get that.
I don't need more. But anyway, my heart has recovered, but life is better without. I think I think the younger generations are like, screw social media. Mm-hmm. We want to meet in person. I'm like, wow. Okay, so anyway, that's me shitting on social media and mentioning discoverindiefilm.com for this podcast and everything that grows from it. If you go to discoverindiefilm.org, that is the nonprofit that runs 2 festivals in the LA area. Film Invasion Los Angeles, where we got to screen Beck's film Pace, and Sherman Oaks Film Festival that we hold every summer. Every winter we have Sherman Oaks Film Festival. And they're both run by the Discover Indie Film Foundation, so you can learn more if you go to discoverindiefilm.org. And there was a child born earlier this year. We finally, for years there was always talk of another Film Invasion somewhere. And in January of 2026, we had Film Invasion Lima down in Peru. And it made my heart warm because people who were there actually sent emails that said, this was the best festival experience I had, which is like something we always love to hear from people who attend here at Film Invasion LA in Sherman Oaks. So that was wonderful. And now we're smart enough next year. It's not in January. It's February. It's Valentine's weekend of 2027, which happens to be President's Day weekend in the States, which means it's a 3-day weekend. So maybe more people can get down. And I mean, honestly, is there a better place to spend Valentine's weekend than a romantic South American capital in its summer months and when it's winter up here? So that's my pitch for Film Invasion Lima.
That's awesome.
And thank you, Chevy and Pilar, for running it down there. All right. I said I got my outro done.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Beck.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And thank you, everyone, for listening.